Hello and welcome to episode number 143 of Dude and the Monkey. As always, my name is Ian Loring. I'm steering the ship this week, and I am joined by
Mark Foster. Hello, everybody.
yes, and so big show this week. Later on, we're going to have we're going to be joined by Brad Porter, kind of like industry insider to and ex Eat Sleep Live film Oscar blogger person to talk about the Academy Award nominations. But I suppose the bulk of the show is going to be a bit of a tribute to David Bowie and Alan Rickman. So we're going to be doing kind of retro reviews of The Man Who Fell to Earth and Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. But I suppose we better plug our shit.
Yes.
So yeah, we launched a YouTube channel last week.
Yeah, we have. There's so far there's one video on it that's going to be a weekly feature of yourself, isn't there?
Yep, Let's Forget Physical, which is a guide to the latest releases on iTunes and like the latest offers on iTunes as well. And Mark's also going to. Have you come up with a name for yours yet?
Yes, it's called Look at All My Shit.
Oh, it is Look at All My Shit, isn't it? That's right.
Which I haven't recorded yet, but by the time this is out, it might be up. Hopefully it'll be up for the weekend. Which essentially is, I'll briefly explain what it is. I've moved house, as you long-time listeners or even short-time listeners will know, but I boxed up my DVDs all between, I forget how many there is, but there's somewhere between 2,500 and 4,000 in there. I boxed them all up, and there's about 100 in each box, but I don't know what's in each box, so I quite literally am going to open a box and go through them and just go, right, well, that's, some of them will be obvious ones. They'll be like, oh, that's The Departed, there we go. But the idea is that every so often I will be pulling out one and going, oh, shit, and showing you and saying, look, and it'll either be, this was bought for me, or it will be, I'll give a little reason for my logic of why I bought it. And also, I can remember, and I absolutely can, I can remember the cost of every single DVD I've bought.
That's fucked up.
Just by looking at it, I can tell you exactly how much it was bought for. So either I'll be able to tell you where I bought it from, and I'll be able to tell you whether or not I bought it in an offer and how much it cost me. For some reason, they all just stick in. As soon as I see them, I go, oh, I got that from a 5 for 30 from Virgin. Oh, I paid $3.99 for that from Morrison's. Oh, they all stick in there. So, like I say, I might go through the box, and it might just be they might be all okay, but they might go through them and go, yeah, I now pronounce you Chuck and Larry in there, and I'll have to explain the logic for why I bought that and things like that. So. But there'll be other stuff we'll be doing along the way as well.
Yes, man, and we'll have some I don't know, more news probably next week.
Yes, we will. Yeah, we will be. Oh, I suppose we might as well launch now. We are going to be launching a dudeandamonkey.com website. Where you'll be able to get the podcast, you'll be able to get the YouTube channel, and also it's somewhere for me and Ian to put stuff that we want to write. Whether or not it is film related or whether or not it is not film related. It doesn't necessarily have to be because it's just somewhere that we can put our stuff out there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I don't know. It should be a lot of fun. It'd be good to actually get. I don't know, get ourselves out there kind of, as a brand, I suppose.
Yeah.
As silly as that fucking sounds, but I don't know, just like get it reaching out more than just the podcast. And I mean, the kind of like we're also doing the podcast as like a kind of a slightly video feed on YouTube. I want to look into maybe like doing a Google Hangout, which can then post to YouTube, us actually on camera doing the podcast, and then extract that audio and then put that up as a podcast.
Yeah, I think basically, essentially, what we're doing this year is we're going to kind of go, right. We've done this for 3 and a bit years now, and we've got what we think is quite a sort of loyal set of listeners that we're very thankful for,
yes.
And I think we've just kind of gone, do you know what? Let's kind of just not branch it out a little bit, but let's look at getting some writing done because we can do this, and let's look at this YouTube thing and see if this works, and just really just kind of go, right, Dude and the Monkey, it isn't just going to be the podcast, it's going to be these are the things, and okay, if they don't work, we'll stop doing them.
Yeah.
But we're not gonna commit to. I'm not gonna commit to regularly saying, look, every Tuesday there'll be a new article from me on blah. It will be as and when. Some weeks I might write 2 or 3 things for the site. Some weeks I might go 2 weeks without getting a chance to write.
Yep.
It's just going to be something there for us to kind of go, do you know what? I fancy writing this. This has pissed me off, or I really liked this, or anything like that. And like I say, it might not even be film related.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, I mean that's exactly it, man. Sorry, I was just sorry, forgive me, I was looking at something. Yeah, so that's it. It's good. What I was looking at, our YouTube analytics. 100% male views so far.
Yes, yes,
which is I don't
expected.
know. Yeah, it is expected, isn't it? 0.5% from New Zealand. I'm guessing that might just be Mike.
Yes, if it isn't, then fuck you, Mike.
Yeah, no, quite. So yeah, there you go. So we don't have a custom URL for YouTube yet because you've got to be on there for at least a month and have at least 30 subscribers. We have 26. Thank you very much to everybody. YouTube doesn't show you everybody because, like, if some people choose to keep their thing private, then it stays private. We just get the number, so we literally can't thank everybody. But it is appreciated, and we will put a link in the show notes and whatnot as well. But to be honest, hopefully, if you just search "Dude and a Monkey" or look at our Twitter feed or even Mark and I's Facebook, if you can, if you Facebook friends and whatnot, feel free to add me at least. I don't know about Mark; he might not.
Yeah, add me though.
Yeah, but yeah. So we will
try getting to add my daughter at some point anyway. So.
Yeah, man. Like that, just a bit of context there. It is constantly asking me, but I think Noel as well. To follow Mark's daughter on Facebook.
I don't even think I follow my own daughter on Facebook.
It's just like, is there not an algorithm on Facebook that says maybe don't suggest 31-year-old men to follow 12-year-old girls on Facebook and also daughters of friends?
Yeah, it's weird.
It's just mental. It's mental. So there you go anyway. Sorry, you still there?
Yes, still there.
Sorry. Yeah, so, I mean, let's skip trailers. What we'll do, to be honest, we've already recorded the bit with Brad, so I'm probably just going to stick that up at the end of this show. So, we've had the Brad bit, so, we've recorded the Brad bit. We don't have an awful lot of time left over. We've got enough time for what we're going to do, but there's not going to be any trailers, not any what we watched, and we'll basically a return to the regularly scheduled programming next week.
Yes.
So, which one do you want to do first, Mark?
Let's do Robin Hood first.
Okay, cool. So, Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. So it stars the great Alan Rickman, as well as Kevin Costner, Christian Slater, a bunch of people, some of them speaking in English accents, some of them not at all. And it's directed by Kevin Reynolds. It kind of sees Reynolds and Costner almost at like the height of their powers, I suppose. I mean, they went on from this after this to do Waterworld. Giant hit worldwide, even though it's a film probably more known for its end credit song than the film itself. It was my first time watching this, and I watched the 2 hour, 35-minute extended version. What version did you watch, Mark?
Well, after you said you'd watch that version, I thought, motherfucker, I'm going to have to watch that version now as well. So I watched that version as well.
May I just say, one of the great unexpected F-bombs of all time.
Yes. Yes, there is. If you're listening thinking, hang on a minute, nobody says fuck in Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. Well, they do in the extended version, for no apparent reason.
Yeah, and I was looking on IMDb after, it's Christian Slater. I don't want to spoil it, frankly, because it's so unexpected. But Christian Slater ad-libbed it, and then they just thought it was funny.
Yep.
And they had to cut it out of the theatrical version, but they just thought, fuck it, we'll leave it in for the extended version. And the extended version also features Kevin Costner covering himself in horse shit.
Yes.
So that he can kind of pass off as a smelly peasant in the climax, which is brilliant. Now, right, fuck Kevin Costner. Alan Rickman, because this is for Alan Rickman, is the big daddy of this film.
Well, he is, and what's wonderful about Rickman in this movie is he turned it down like 2 or 3 times and said he didn't want to do it
Yeah.
until they basically said to him, "You can do whatever you want with this character," and he was like, well, "Hang on a minute, really? I can do whatever I want, and you'll let me do it?" Yes, and then that's what he did. He basically took the piss out of the entire film whilst also making the entire film. It's he's so ridiculously good because he's this ridiculously evil character that he's choosing to be evil just because fuck it, why not? And it's an absolutely wonderful performance that elevates this film into being crazy entertaining, more entertaining than it has any right to be.
I mean, this is the thing. Somewhat similar to Hans Gruber in the way that in moments you want to see him win.
Yeah.
When, like, Hans Gruber, Die Hard, when Ode to Joy plays, when he cracks the safe, you do think good on him.
Yeah.
That's great. Well done, Hans. I very much hope you enjoy your 20%. You know, and here, I mean, one of the scenes ends with him, like, basically approaching a couple of women and say, "You meet me in my chamber at 10:30. You 11:15. Bring a friend."
Bring a friend, yeah.
You know, which is amazing in what is a PG-rated Kevin Costner film.
What's even more amazing is this is a PG-rated Kevin Costner film where the final kind of big fight takes place as he essentially is trying to rape somebody.
Yeah.
Which is...
Yeah. It is mental.
It's crazy. People often say about certain films that film could not be made now. This film could not be made now.
Yeah, I mean,
they keep calling Morgan Freeman the painted man.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, Morgan Freeman is one of the best, like, most loyal, heroic characters in the film.
He's great.
Obviously, like I say, I hadn't seen this before, so my first impressions were, holy shit, the music from the Morgan Creek title logo is just the score from this.
Yeah.
Which was, I don't know, I never knew that. That was crazy. But also, Christian Slater, this feels like it should have been peak Christian Slater. And he basically plays guy who just gets pissed off in the background until the last half hour.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if they cast him. He started up staging Kevin Costner, and Kevin Costner was like, right, you can cut the fuck out of his role.
Well, the thing is, it was in that period, essentially, where he was doing a lot of work and he cropped up in some big movies. And like I said, I think maybe it was, they were thought, if we've got Christian Slater, we've got that young, slightly younger audience. But yeah, maybe it was, well, he's pulling a little bit too much focus here. So yeah, let's cut a few scenes.
Yeah, and to be fair, I mean, like, again, reading on IMDb, it does kind of seem like Costner might have gotten a little bit jealous of what Rickman was doing as well. And it's to the extent that it seemed, again, it might have been cutting some of his shit as well. I mean, there's a scene that, again, was cut from the theatrical version where Rickman just looks absolutely psychotic while finding out that old woman's actually his mother.
Yeah.
And it's just like canted angles, and Rickman looking like he's on the edge of having a nervous breakdown. And it's glorious. I mean, the first appearance of Nottingham when he takes off that mask, and it's Alan Rickman versus Brian Blessed for 10 seconds.
Yep.
Just amazing. And all you want to do, when you're just watching Kevin Costner fucking about in the woods with the guys, you just want to get back to Rickman.
Yeah, that's it. Without Rickman in it, this film would have still probably made the same amount of money. It would have still done what it did, but it would have been boring.
Yeah,
There's no getting away from it. I like Kevin Costner. I'm a Kevin Costner fan. I find him an enjoyable presence to watch. But let's be honest, he plays Robin Hood as almost a little bit. I don't know. A little bit like he's not quite all there. Like he's got some kind of he's somewhere on an autistic spectrum that means he has to act like a child for half the time of the movie.
I wonder if that's him in the accent. Like maybe, like even though they just said to him, "Look, just fuck it, just do the American accent." Whether there's like 10% of his acting power is being dedicated to maybe I could still do the accent, maybe I could still do the accent, and it does seem slightly off. I will say, I think he's maybe a bit too old for the part.
Yeah,
It does seem like this is designed for a younger man, and you do have that bit where Marion sees him in the waterfall, and it's just like Kevin Costner, and it's like this feels like a scene for a late 20s guy, not like a early 40s guy or a late 30s guy. But the thing is, maybe I'm saying that because in the last couple of decades, like the average age of our big screen action heroes does seem to be getting lower and lower. And so maybe it's that. But I don't know. It's massive hubris on Kevin Costner's part to think that he can play Robin Hood in the first place, I think.
Well, this was Costner at the height of his powers.
Yeah, totally. This was Costner being able to just greenlight something just because of his name. And, I mean, fair play. The film is fun. For 2.5 hours long, this extended version, I mean, it's fine. It doesn't feel overly long at all. But as you say, if Rickman wasn't there just pepping it up every now and then, it does feel like it could go really long. I don't know. Kevin Costner as an English nobleman who finds companionship in the kind of the borderline homeless men in the forest.
Yeah,
that's a stretch.
It is. It is. Yeah. And the thing is, I'd seen this a couple of times, and it was very much a rewatch for me. But it was quite sort of. I was looking forward to sort of rewatching it because I hadn't seen it. Wow, in maybe 25 years, well, maybe not 25 years because it's been 25 years old, but like 20 odd years. So it was quite sort of interesting watching it as an adult, and you are kind of hit by, holy shit, Rickman does fucking just own this movie. Costner wasn't as bad as I remember in my brain him being. He's perfectly entertaining as it, but like you say, he is maybe a little bit too old for it, and I think really you can get past the accent thing quite quickly. Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio is painful to watch at points.
It's just she's not great.
She's not a great actress though. Let's be honest.
Yeah, no, sure. I mean, like I don't know. It's no surprise she seemed to kind of disappear in the mid-90s. But Kevin Costner, like when it's the White Cliffs of Dover, and you see him kissing the sand and talking about how much he loves England. I just know, Kevin Costner, you're all American, man. You just did Field of Dreams.
Yeah, you own a ranch, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, I mean, like I have enough time for the cost, man. I was really, really hoping that Jack Ryan spin-off they were talking about before Jack Ryan came out and died. They were talking about doing a spin-off of his character. That would have been awesome. I would have been all over that.
I think Kevin Costner's great. He's. You can't deny how good some of his movies have been and how entertaining some of his movies have been. But he also, every so often, throws out a strange one as well.
I mean, good on him for trying it. Don't get me wrong, but
and spent him a lot of money.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I mean, just the fact that it's weird. Like the guys, his gang. It's like some of them are like, "Oi there, me lover."
Yes, and then they're incredibly regional.
Yeah, and then you've got other guys who aren't even trying, just do an American accent. It's discombobulating. It really is. And, I mean, Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio, which with a surname like that, English as fuck. I don't know. It just, there's enough, cognitive dissonance in this film to just every now and then, just like, what am I watching? But then Alan Rickman comes in. I mean, like, this film is a 4 out of 5 for me. But I think 3 of those stars, to be fair, are Alan Rickman.
I'd go as far as saying you could probably argue that 3.5 of them are.
Yeah, sure.
But-
3.5 for
but-
that, and half a star for Christian Slater's F-bomb.
Yeah. And, like you say, Slater doesn't do much apart from that, really. He just acts really fucking moody. And then when you get like, we're all supposed to have time, when you get we're brothers, you're like, oh, fuck off.
Yeah, no, exactly. I know, that's the worst. I mean, fair play though. It's a film that in an era of franchise all the way, it's its own self-contained story.
Yep.
It ends and it's kind of like, if there was a sequel, fine, but if not, fair enough. It tells its own thing. It has its own weird transatlantic world. I don't know. It's a very fun oddity.
Yeah, that is exactly it. I had a lot more fun with it than I thought I was going to have on a rewatch. To be honest, I finished and I was like, yeah, do you know what? Yeah, I'm all right with that. I enjoyed that.
Totally.
I watched on a Sunday afternoon, and that's perfect.
I watched part of it on a Friday night, part of it on a Saturday night, and by the end of it, I was like, "Yep, that's me sated. That's very nice. Good 2.5 hour romp. Why not? Would I rather watch Fast 7 than this? Yes, but in terms of romps these days, would I rather watch Guardians of the Galaxy? Yes, but
if I went to see this in the middle of like the third week in April, and I went to the cinema to see it on a Sunday morning, I'd get out and go, "Oh, it's all right, that."
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. It's definitely not shit. Great deal of fun.
Yeah,
great deal of fun.
Absolutely.
Okay, cool, man. So let's go on to The Man Who Fell to Earth, shall we?
Yes.
Okay, so Nicholas Roeg's The Man Who Fell to Earth, starring David Bowie, Candy Clark, and Rip Torn, a name that never fails to amuse me.
Yeah.
Like, it's just a pun in itself. It's lovely. So The Man Who Fell to Earth, I think a second time watch for me.
Yeah, third for me on that one.
Yeah. It's a bit long.
It is a bit long, isn't it?
I love Me, My Bowie. Me, My Bowie, and he is the best thing about this.
Yeah.
It's a bit long.
It is. The thing is, the crazy thing about Man of Earth is Bowie's fantastically cast and plays it fantastic because he doesn't just play it as David Bowie. He isn't just going, well, it's about an alien and Ziggy Stardust.
I'm an alien. Hello there.
Yeah, you see, he could have just gone and turned up and gone David Bowie, but he doesn't. He creates this character there, or he embodies this character that already existed in the novel. But like you see, what Nicholas Roeg has done, it's an incredibly art house movie. There's a lot of that going on, and at points you are going, this is really feeling like this is 2.5 hours long.
Yeah, I mean, the issue I have with it is that the central relationship between Bowie and Clark is not super compelling. I don't really get why he's so infatuated with her. She's cute.
Yep.
But that's kind of about it, it's there's not enough really there to hang on, and towards the by the end when it's she's older and she's coming back to see him, I am a little bit like I don't really care, and I get she's old and he's young, and but he's an old soul and it's tragic and all that kind of stuff, but I don't know. I needed the kind of the music video type sequence with the gun just to kind of keep me going, I think.
Yeah, it does. They do kind of add a little bit of pep into there. There is, the thing about it does lack an element of story to it, which I think benefits it often as much as it hinders it.
Yeah. No, absolutely, man, absolutely. It's but oh, bloody hell. What's going on with that? I think she really doesn't want a bath. Okay. Anyway, sorry. Yeah, I don't know. The style it's got coming out of its arse. I love the
Oh
beginning.
yeah,
You
yes, the
know,
beginning is fantastic.
just him kind of like just staggering down that hill, and lying down outside that the shop, and the way that it like time passes with like no real
It
hint other than like the makeup on the people.
yeah, it doesn't. The beautiful thing about this movie is it doesn't give a fuck if you are understanding what's going on.
Yeah.
It is telling its story, whether or not you're following it or not, at all. And it's one of my third watch, and I'll be freely honest. I'm still not 100% sure what was actually fucking going on a lot of the time. I just know that I was liking what I was seeing most of the time.
Yeah. No, sorry, man. Forgive me. We got we got a couple of emails. Bloody hell.
Oh, cool.
Sorry. Not for reading out on your podcast, please. Oh, okay then. Fair enough. The person who sent a thing saying not for reading out on your podcast, please. I will forward that to Mark, and thank you very much for the. Well, actually, you can see it in the Dude and the Monkey thing, but yeah, thank you very much for feeding back and whatnot. Thank you. But yeah, no, I mean, I really like the fact that there's the sequence with Rip Torn where the girl's kind of taking the photos, and it's the self-developed film, and it's the realization that shit. Okay, so it's kind of advanced so far that now this World Industries has gotten to the place that they're developing all this kind of stuff, and the way that you realize time's passing is not immediately obvious. And like you say, it doesn't care if anybody's giving it doesn't give a fuck if anyone's really following. It just wants you to kind of go with it in its kind of way. And I mean, Rogue was like that a lot. I mean, like, Jesus Christ, have you ever seen Insignificance?
I've not, no.
Oh my God, that fucking film. It's like a Albert Einstein and Marilyn Manson and a baseball player, like kind of all meeting up for a night, and it just like it's just go with it, just go with it.
Well, yeah, I'm fucking sold on that one. Is that the Gary Busey one?
Yeah, that's it. He plays the baseball player.
Oh, why haven't I seen this? By the time we next record, there'll be what I've been watching will be that movie.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, it'd be interesting to hear your thoughts on that. I think you'll probably quite like it. But it's all like like you say, the narrative. It's just Rogue. He just does that. He expects you to just go. Yeah, I mean, it's like performance as well. The way the two characters, kind of the personalities, kind of like switch and things. It's I mean, it's fascinating. It's just that this film takes it a bit too long and a bit too languid. And even though Bowie, it's this weirdly heartbreaking thing, just watching him like move from water to a gin every now and then by the end it's just bottles all over the place.
Yeah.
In the last scene, I mean, the ending is. I love the ending. The conversation he has with Rip Torn, and he just puts his head down and the credits roll. It's and I noticed as well the fact that it's not just a static shot there. It was literally like Rogue just had to say, right, David, just put your head down, just stay there for about 3 minutes.
Yeah, yeah. It's not like you say. It's not a static shot. It's just there. It's a remarkable film in many ways. Like you say, it does get lost in itself a little bit.
Yeah. No, I mean, lost in itself, I think, is a good way of putting it. I mean, going back to Candy Clark, I mean, she's good. I think when she's playing younger, she's good. When it's like that kind of slightly innocent, slightly ditzy.
Yeah, she's quite spiky in it.
But the sense that she's pretty damaged, and if she gets a few drinks in her, she might go down a rocky road. And by the end, it's. Where they kind of padded her and she's got the makeup and whatnot, and it's, I don't know. I don't get the bloody connection. I don't see it. I know I said it earlier. I don't see why Bowie is into her so much.
Yeah, and he doesn't sort of, the character doesn't even appear to be that into it. He just seems to find comfort, I suppose, in her being around. Maybe I don't know. It's a very strange one. I can understand why they're not seeing the connection there. Absolutely.
But I mean, I don't know. I surprisingly have little to say on this. Sorry.
The thing is, it's a very strange film, and it's supposed to be a strange film. It's made to be a strange film, but it's a strange film in the fact that we're talking about a film that's 2 hours 20 minutes long, but in the great scheme of things, and also it's a film that's 2 hours 20 minutes long about an alien that lands in Earth, builds a business empire with the idea of getting water back to his own planet to save his own planet. While he's on Earth, he's missing his wife and his kids, but he develops sort of standard human failures while he's on Earth. That's a lot that's going on, whilst also the business world, eats him alive as well. That's a lot that's going on, yet there isn't a lot that actually goes on in this movie. So it's a really, really peculiar movie. But it looks fantastic. Yeah. It's got a great atmosphere to it. And maybe part of that atmosphere is the fact that you are watching it going, I'm very well aware that this has been on for this long. The first 40 minutes blow by, they fly by.
They barrel along. It's once he's properly gotten with Candy Clark
that it starts to that you could lose bits of it.
Yeah, and like he starts finding he finds like the river area and then gets Rip Torn involved, and it's kind of going along from there, and it's a lot of him sat around being depressed and kind of shouting at Candy Clark and shouting at the television and chucking cookies up in the air and stuff. It's, I don't know. The first third, fantastic. Yeah. The middle third, okay. The last third, I can take it or leave it.
Yeah, I agree with those. Yeah, really. Yeah, but definitely not shit. But yeah, it's one where you have to really want to watch it, is what I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, I'm glad I watched it again. I do wonder whether I'll ever watch it again.
I think I will, you see. I bought it off iTunes for $5.99, even though, what I will say is I do actually have it on Blu-ray, but it's a screen and copy. And I couldn't bother to dig it out of the box, so I thought, $5.99, do you know what? I'm happy with that.
I mean, I'll be honest, I torrented it, which was one of the last torrents I'll ever do, because I've been banned from torrenting by my wife. A friend in work got a kind of a legal notice type, warning letter type thing, and it's freaked things out. But with me as well, in fairness, a little bit. But yeah, anyway, so I'm pissed off, actually. If I knew it was $5.99 on iTunes, I wish I'd checked iTunes, actually, because I probably just would have got it from there.
Yeah, I was quite happy to pay $5.99 for that.
Yeah, that's a fair price. So, yeah, it's definitely not shit, because there's more to it that's good than not, for sure. I don't know, it almost feels like you're being sacrilegious or something, because, he's just passed away. And
I watched a better Bowie movie this week.
Oh, what did you watch?
I watched Labyrinth again.
Oh, fair enough. Okay.
And Labyrinth is a fantastic movie. Labyrinth is strange in a different way. It is in the fact that you have, at the time, one of the biggest pop stars in the world is playing a king of goblins, and he steals a baby, and then he dances around with a load of puppets, which should be terrible and shouldn't work. Yet it's not. It's magnificent. It's an incredibly entertaining movie. So. Yeah, I still think that it's more intoxicating every time Bowie's on screen.
Well, I mean, I watched the Pennebaker concert film Ziggy Stardust and
Oh,
the Spiders from
Spider
Mars.
Mars, yeah, which is fantastic.
Yeah, which was awesome. Like I like the way that there's a little bit behind the scenes stuff, but it's kind of like, look, you're just bothered about the music, really, aren't you? So essentially just it's essentially just a concert film with a little bit more. But the angle that Pennebaker's at, where it's like he's like 3 rows from the front to the side,
Yeah,
and you know, every now and then you get shots of the crowd and stuff, but then it's just there for like most of it, and that was awesome,
it is.
awesome.
It is. It's fantastic. I mean, it's the kind of loss of Bowie from a musical sense. You know, we're not a music podcast, but we do talk about music occasionally. It is phenomenal in the fact that when you look at his influence, whether or not people like his music or not, if you sort of take every major band for the past 40, years, they all have some kind of link or would all cite an influence as being David Bowie. And that's taken from people like, Springsteen. Basically said, he was a huge supporter of us. U2. I'm not saying these are good bands. I'm saying these are the bands that became mega, huge bands. Noel Gallagher's, cited him before has been a huge influence. Pearl Jam have cited him. Nirvana fucking covered "Man Who Sold the World" at MTV Unplugged. These are all cultural touchstones of the generation. For fuck's sake, Bowie practically invented the new romantics wave and wasn't even a new romantic. It's staggering, and people throughout the 80s, were influenced by him. The Smiths were influenced by Bowie. It's staggering how much his fingerprint is on the way we look at sort of modern music. And what was always great about him was he didn't release things for the sake of it. Jumping back, U2 will release an album every 3 years because they'll make money. Bowie would only release something if he had something to fucking say or something to do, if it actually made sense. I think Coldplay, the guitarist from Coldplay, did a really dickish interview, actually, where he basically said, we approached David Bowie to make a song, to do a song with us, and, he didn't do it because he said to us, well, the song isn't that great, really, so I'll give him one thing, at least he wouldn't put his name to something that he didn't, endorse. It's like, hang on a minute, you're the guitarist in Coldplay. You're the guitarist in a band that nobody gives a fuck about anybody but Chris Martin. So seriously, essentially, you're one of Maroon 5. That is how important you are. Coldplay are the Chris Martin band. Accept it. You might be that bald dickhead who wears a hat, and you're saying the one thing you'll give Bowie will be fuck off.
Yeah.
You're Coldplay. Nobody cares that doesn't vote Conservative about your band.
I mean,
you are the most Waitrose band in the world.
Oh, that's very good. Yes. I don't know. I mean, like, I listened to Black Star earlier this week, and I don't know. It's mental that somebody that vital and pretty fucking current, it's just I don't know. It's just gone. I mean, you look at somebody like Rod Stewart who just puts out any old shit every few years. Somebody like the kind of same era as Bowie.
Yeah,
and yet you got Bowie who, with The Next Day and with Black Star, was still sounding relevant.
That's it. That goes. That's what I was saying a minute ago. He only put stuff out if it made sense.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's some mad production on Black Star. I don't know. I can't really put it into words, man. It's the one big pop culture touchstone death that's really, really, really like gotten to me, like in a long time.
As a cultural impact, I think it's staggering how much kind of film, art, technology, and music has kind of gone. Oh, fuck this guy! This guy made a difference, and it's not often you can say that to that large a scale. But David Bowie made a fucking difference all the time doing it, while also seemingly being a really nice, guy.
Yeah, no, I mean, oh God, that photo that was like taken 2 days before he died as well. Holy shit! I mean, considering how far gone he must have been,
and he still looked cool as fuck.
Yeah, to be able to do that, it's. I don't know. I mean, it's like Lemmy, for fuck's sake. I mean, like, he only found out he had cancer like 2 days before he died.
Yeah.
Yeah, cancer's a prick.
It is, yeah. And I think, with someone like Bowie, we've just kind of got to say thank you.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, absolutely, thank you. And I don't know, I mean, like, I just say briefly, my mum very tangentially knew him in her youth. He was shagging one of my mum's housemates for a time 40 years ago, and apparently really, 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 really nice guy. Then, it's that's weird, but I don't know. It's nice. I mean, that's just the legacy he's left. It just. You don't see anyone in the music landscape now still having that kind of effect in 30, 40 years. Like anybody like in his pomp, well, not his pomp, but in like the 70s when he was doing Ziggy Stardust and then Young Americans and whatnot, and there's just nobody around now. I mean, like, do you think Justin Bieber's still going to be relevant 30, 40 years on?
No, Justin Bieber won't be relevant in 3 or 4 years fucking time. Never mind in that amount of time. You don't get innovators really in music anymore. You don't. It's a sad fact. Music has become disposable. Somebody put out a thing the other day, those shitty fucking memes that I usually despise, and it was Bowie. It was Bowie, Stones, and Led Zeppelin. We're on this thing, and it said, when you paid for music, you got this. When you don't, you get this. And it was Justin Bieber, Nicki Minaj, and Kanye West.
Yeah.
And it was like, do you know what? That's what it is. People. As much as people do with films nowadays, it's worse with music. I've got Spotify. I have access to all of this music there. I haven't the last album I bought was a Springsteen one, and it was the Ties That Bind thing. I wouldn't, fuck it. Even if a band that I love came out, brought out a new album, I wouldn't buy it. I would just fucking listen to it on Spotify.
Yeah.
But I'll go and see them live.
Yeah.
But there's no fucking way I'm going to see fucking Justin Bieber or anyone like that live. Not because I don't like him, but because I'm not paying 70 quid to watch somebody fucking A, not sing live to fucking mime, and B, for the miming track to be fucking auto-tuned.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, music's fucked. I'm sorry, it is. I'm sure there are great bands out there, but I just can't be fucking bothered to fucking find them. That's why all of my Spotify is just stuff that was released 10 to 30 years ago.
Nice.
Yeah, my favourite album last year was a fucking cover album.
Right, I'm going to leave it there because I need to go.
Yes,
and I need a pee as well. But
what are we covering next week, Ian?
Ho Shao Shen's The Assassin. Boom!
Forward to this. Yes!
Boom!
I'm very much looking forward to it, and it'll be back to the normal show kind of format.
There's going to be a shitload of what we watch because I'm going to have like 2 weeks worth, a film every day pretty much. So
Oh, sweet, nice. I'll make sure I've got a bumper amount as well.
yeah, nice. So we're going to go to our conversation with Brad. I want to say now, Brad was driving at the time. His Skype cut in and out like a motherfucker. I'm going to try and edit it as best I can, but it's a good conversation. You can hear him nice and clearly and whatnot. You know, it's a bit choppy at times.
Yeah,
But it's a good time, I think. And like that, I need a piss so bad it's untrue. So,
all right, bud. Speak to you soon.
Bye, guys. Speak to you next week. Bye.
Right, speak to you soon, bud.
Cheers, mate. Bye. Okay, and we are now going to do some awards chat. Sorry, I'm sounding a bit flustered because Brad kept on fucking interrupting me. We're joined by Brad Porter. Say hello, Brad.
Hi.
And Brad's actually driving at the moment, so I've got no idea how he's Skyping, but maybe let's not ask. But so Brad's deemed to join us for some Oscars chat, which he used to do on 35mm Heroes for a few years as well. So it's it's nice to have some continuity there. So Mark, if you don't mind, I'm just going to kind of kick off with Brad. Generally, what do you like out of 10? What do you rate the Oscar nominations at this year?
Oh, 8? I don't think they were that embarrassing, contrary to popular belief.
Yeah, so I mean, let's address the elephant in the room right now. Hashtag Oscars so white. I'm gonna say hashtag the best, like the films in Best Picture are all better than Creed and Straight Outta Compton.
I wouldn't necessarily say they're all better than Creed. I'd say that they're better than Straight Outta Compton, but Creed, if I was to put it in there, would be the bottom tier of that pack. So it's not like, and lots of worthy films get missed every year. Carol has missed this year, which is more egregious.
Yes.
Than any of the others. I believe that this. I mean, obviously, yeah, it sucks, but to focus on 2 years in a row where there's been no persons of colour nominated for an acting award, when in the 13 years before that has had. I mean, I'm not saying that it's like. I read one tweet that was like, we gave 12 Years a Slave a Best Picture. It's like saying I have a black friend. I'm not trying to say it's that, but it's every year the Academy say we are trying to diversify. I believe they are. It's not like it has been decades of lack of nomination for people of colour. Other minority, or I'm trying to think of a good way of saying this. I mean, no one's kicking off that Todd Haynes wasn't nominated for Best Director, but it comes down to the films, and I think this was a fuse that was laid down last year, and anyone was looking for an excuse to light the match this year.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, go on.
That's the absolute thing. Is people were desperate this year to focus on that, and like Brad says, it just the fact that there were no, however we're describing it, minorities as they were, and in the nominations for the big acting awards, they've gone, look at this, the Oscars are so white. It's like
the point is, sorry, yeah,
yes, a little bit they are, but maybe it's just the fact is, everyone that's nominated there, I haven't seen The Danish Girl yet, but everyone else that's nominated in the Best Actor, for instance, there, I think delivers a better performance than Michael B. Jordan in Creed. So, and it seems to be that seems to be the one that they're throwing out there and saying, well, what about Creed?
It's Michael B. Jordan and it's Creed. It's Straight Outta Compton and Jason E. Mitchell, and it's Idris Elba, and then lesser Will Smith. But that's about it. And the thing is, you're in this danger. I mean, we're going to get. It's three white guys talking about this on a podcast. So, there's no win here, but you're looking at. The upsides. I read a lovely article, another one today by Nathaniel Rogers, who Ian shared and got a load of shit for last week. He did another article saying that because the Academy have announced they're going to look into changing things at their governors' meeting next week. And the Oscar, whenever they're pushed into a corner to react quickly, they always make it worse.
Yeah.
And it's gonna get worse. It gets better, but the worst thing that can happen is positive discrimination. saying, well, this was the best film about people of colour nominated this year, so it deserves a nomination because inclusiveness. It becomes the Oprah Winfrey Show version of the Oscars. It's you get a car, you get a car, you get a car.
Yeah.
And it's actually worse. That's more discriminatory than just admitting that some years the quality is not there. Now as the tide seems to be turning a little bit, that is the bigger problem.
This is it, and this seems to be masking that conversation that maybe, the most culturally significant film with a diverse cast of the last couple of years is Fast 7.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, it just, if I don't know, if you want to... What? No, go on.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Or is it... I thought it was Furious 7.
Oh, whatever it was. I mean, like, I very much like that film, but whatever it is, the naming conventions that series continue to baffle me. But this is the thing. It's not focusing on the fact that Straight Outta Compton is a fairly generic biopic. Creed is, yes, it's very good, and yes, it is the type of film that Oscar usually goes for. It is, but there's also the fact that the list of Best Picture nominees is one of the strongest in a while, and I would like to think that Creed is probably, if Carol was number 9, Creed was probably number 10.
But the thing is,
you're also forgetting Inside Out. I think Inside Out was going to be above Creed.
Oh,
shit!
Go on
no, it could have.
Fair point.
Could have been. Sicario.
Star Wars is fucking above Creed as well.
It's not a massive snub. If Creed, let's be honest, if Creed was a white guy, nobody would be screaming the fact that it hasn't been nominated for Best Picture. That is just what that is. Fact.
Can you hear me,
Brad? Yeah, you're back.
Sorry, someone phoned me in the middle of a Skype call and it fucked everything up. Mark was just saying that no one would be screaming about Creed if its lead actor was white. No, and also, as I've said a few times in things with you, Creed is the 6th sequel in a franchise that's seen better days.
Yeah.
Directed by a 29-year-old upstart, no matter what colour he is, as horrible as that sounds. Of course, and I know, BAFTA members and Academy members I've spoken to haven't watched it, but they've said they've nominated for Stallone because they know the character he's playing and they like him. They're not watching the film because it's about a black lead with a black director. They're not watching it because they don't want to watch another Rocky film.
Yeah, and that kind of falls a little bit back to what myself and Ian touched upon, I think, in the last podcast at some point, where we're saying the Oscars a little bit is kind of becoming it's his time thing, rather than...
it's a gold watch.
Exactly, yeah. It's becoming a little bit like that.
And I still think Stallone's going to lose the...
What, to Mark Rylance?
Even though he's picking up some momentum. I think it's like Mickey Rourke losing to Sean Penn after winning everything else.
Yeah.
For the wrestler.
Yeah, no... Yeah, quite.
Will lose me.
This is fun. I think he's gone again. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is, isn't it? And this is the thing. Yeah, I'm sure Brad will join back in a bit. This is the thing that's... Oh, there he is.
I'm back.
Yeah, cool. I was just saying, I mean, unfortunately, this is the thing that is overshadowing everything, and no one's it doesn't really feel like anyone's actually talking about the actual nominees. Instead, it's the people who haven't been nominated.
It is, and you've also got a lot of people essentially shouting and jumping around, saying, "Oh, look at me! Look over here, because I'm outraged." You know, if you were to compile a list of people that would comment on this, Spike Lee would be top of it, and Will Smith would be very close to that list.
And then what's happening? They're being reactionary. They're talking about going back to 10 nominees. They're talking about expanding the acting categories. Which, imagine what would happen if they expanded to say 7 nominees and still no people of colour got nominated.
Oh, can you? Yes.
Do you know what I mean? I think
that would be like a middle finger. That.
Yeah.
It's all dangerous, and it's treating the symptom, not the disease.
This is, and that's exactly my point. It's, yes, the Academy is the lightning rod, that, like, it's the big thing that goes to the mainstream is the Oscars in the film business. But it's the fact that there needs to be better films for starring like diverse cast and people of colour. It is what it is. That audience is not very well represented in terms of pure quality in cinema.
Yeah, and also it's the outrage brigade. Let's face it, 90% of the people getting angry about the Oscars wouldn't give a fuck about the Oscars under normal years. They just get pissed, because they don't, like the films that are not.
How many of them actually have seen Creed?
Probably none of them, especially in the UK.
Exactly. They're the ones that are shouting the loudest about how horrible it is that it wasn't nominated.
But look at it this way: yes, there aren't as many women and black filmmakers making the films that are nominated. But I bet you anything, if Room or Brooklyn or Spotlight or one of these was made by a woman or a black man and then they weren't nominated, then it'd be like, okay, well, there's a Best Picture nominee and their director's not nominated. That's weird. That's something to get outraged about. But the films aren't that well represented. Both Creed and Straight Outta Compton have one nomination, and with Creed, I guarantee you it's not to do with race. With Straight Outta Compton, there's probably a little bit of it. I'm not going to lie, because the Academy is a predominantly white members club. But the majority of it is not about the colour of the skin, it's about the music in it, which, yes, is inherent to the race. But I've spoken to many members who haven't watched it because they say, I don't like hip-hop, I don't like rap.
Yeah.
But Hollywood's not making as many films about minorities and women and all this other stuff they should be. And I think the Academy probably is homophobic. They like their films about gays or homosexual or transgenders when the monster dies at the end. It explains Brokeback Mountain, it explains Milk, it explains
Dallas Buyers Club.
Why they embrace Dallas Buyers Club, why they embrace, even Brokeback Mountain to an extent probably didn't win because only one of them dies. Danish Girl has, 5 nominations? The monster dies at the end. Carol is a film that is about 2 healthy lesbians who are in love by the end, It doesn't surprise me they don't watch it and don't vote for it.
Brad's gone for now. I think maybe it's worth focusing on the positive for a bit, though. So, I mean, Best Director, I genuinely think George Miller's going to do it.
I think you could be right based on the fact that Inarritu got it last year, and I don't think they'll give him it 2 years running.
Yes, there's that coupled with this is probably going to be the only time George Miller gets nominated for Best Director before he dies, so let's do it. I will say it's interesting, I did my bets last week, and already Bet365 are offering to pay me more than I'd bet if I cash out now.
Really?
Yeah, I only bet £3. I'd already get $4.50 back.
For the sake of 150, I'd keep that betting because you might get a bit more out of that.
I got 8-1, and now it's down to 7-4.
Bloody hell!
So yeah, if I put down £20, that pulls off. I'm in profit just based on one bet.
Nice.
But I mean, looking at Lenny Abrahamson as well. I mean, this is the thing. Nobody's talking about how interesting some of these nominees are. Lenny Abrahamson got in over Ridley Scott.
Yeah.
That's mental. Because
I think part of that is because with Ridley Scott, it's just, it's Ridley Scott, a really big budget. Was it... It's a really good film, but was it the direction that made the film? You could argue there. It's a very well-directed film, but it's a Ridley Scott film.
Yeah,
of course it's well-directed.
And people were saying beforehand, it's going to be essentially Scott versus Miller. You take Scott out, and... So at this point in the conversation, we had to redial and kind of rejig things a bit. So from here on in, I think the sound dips and whatnot will get better. It kind of is what it is, I'm afraid, folks. But bear with us, and here's the rest of the conversation. Okay, so Brad, we were kind of moving on.
I swear there was one more thing I wanted to say.
Okay,
was just what I said to you before online.
Mm-hmm.
Is that Love and Mercy was a better musical biopic than Straight Outta Compton, which should tick all the Academy's boxes and was more formally inventive, and that didn't get a screenplay nomination, and no one except Jeff Wells gives a fuck. The films aren't there, and we've kind of covered it, haven't we? But it's all a little bit. I can't wait to see how Chris Rock handles this.
That's going to be very
interesting. That is very interesting.
I mean, if I was him, I'd burn the house down and just think, fuck it,
I got a feeling he might. Like,
Yeah,
at the end of the day,
he might rehearse
it's not like they're gonna pull him off.
halfway.
I mean,
if they did, that would be hilarious.
yeah, no, quite.
But I have a feeling that he might rehearse the safe jokes and then just fucking let rip on the show. It'll be funny to see what happens.
Have you noticed all those outraged people about the lack of diversity are completely ignoring the fact that Chris Rock's presenting at the Oscars?
I know, and he will. I mean, look, it's been 2 bad years. But I mean, Idris Elba didn't get nominated. He's the only one that showed up in Precursor Awards.
Yeah,
there is that.
So he's the only one that's really surprised. And as I pointed out once upon a time, he was playing a child-raping warlord in a Netflix film.
exactly. It's not exactly Academy baiting, is it, really?
No, and actually the film was a little bit dull and repetitive. So it's not like it was like, I don't know.
I haven't seen it yet, and I like Idris Elba, but Idris Elba does have a habit of kind of playing Idris Elba. I'm guessing a lot of it at the time he spends leaning in at people, tilting his head slightly forward and pointing, because he does that an awful lot in his movies.
Does he do that, Brad?
Yeah, no, he does. He plays Idris Elba.
Yeah, that's it. You know, there's not a problem with that. I like Idris Elba.
What points an awful lot in his movies?
He points and leans his head in forward and goes, and talks away from people while staring at them. That's just what he does in every movie, whether it's comedy, drama, thriller, action, or what. You get the same Idris Elba.
Yeah.
So, Brad, is George Miller winning Best Director?
Well,
I mean, it does seem like... I mean, the bookie's favourite is still Inarritu, but do you think that's just like an uninformed perspective?
they've never given... I'm 95% sure they've never given back-to-back Best Director Oscars.
They haven't, no.
And I can't imagine Inarritu is where they're going to start for a very, very fucking empty film.
Ooh. Empty,
You know,
eh?
it's... Yeah, I don't think... and that's a weighted ballot, isn't it? Not a preferential ballot. I don't think there's enough people... People might think what he did was technically impressive, but what George Miller did was more technically impressive and has a good film to back it up.
That's it. Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, I was saying to Mark, I put my bets on last week, and I'm already being offered to cash out at more than I bet for him.
Yeah.
And I've got a feeling that's only going to go up as the weeks go on. It was
I think.
Sorry, go on.
I just think Inarritu won the Globes because they didn't reward him for Birdman. They're playing catch up.
That makes sense. Who won last year then at the Globes?
Linklater.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Boyhood.
Of course, he
And
did.
I mean, look, the DJ aren't going to give it to Inarritu 2 years in a row. But they might give it to Ridley Scott, which would really confuse things. The problem is, if Ridley Scott was nominated, I was picking Ridley Scott to win it because he was a bigger gold watch thing than George Miller.
Yeah, that's true.
Tom McCarthy, I still think Spotlight's winning Best Picture, and I think The Big Short wins before Revenant as well. I put Revenant in third place behind those two.
That's interesting.
Big Short's catching the zeitgeist at just the right time, and people will like it more on a weighted ballot, something like that. And Spotlight, Revenant will be a film that'll be number 1 for a lot of people and number 8 for a lot of people, I'd imagine. Spotlight and Big Short are going to be between 2 and 4 on most ballots.
I'm wondering if I'd agree with that. I'm wondering if Big Short might be one of those ones where it's nominated for loads and ends up winning nothing.
Runs out of steam.
I think it's winning adapted screenplay, which will make Adam McKay an Oscar winner, but they're not giving him one for directing. I think it wins adapted screenplay. Revenant wasn't nominated for screenplay, which is also a big gimme, you know.
Yeah, fair enough.
Still, I haven't lost you again, have I?
Yeah, no, you're back.
This is going to be really good fun for you to edit. You should get an Oscar for best editing for this podcast.
I'm wet at the anticipation, Brad, I tell you. Fuck's sake. Okay, so you think Spotlight's getting Best Picture? Here's a question: do you think Spotlight's getting anything else?
I think Spotlight or Big Short, original screenplay, and I think Big Short's taking adapted screenplay. There's something about Spotlight. I don't know. It doesn't feel. I don't know. It just doesn't feel like there's a lot of chatter about it. I've had this underlying feeling that the critics groups were going to love it because it's about journalists. But there is that thing, every now and then it starts to get worthy status, and it's the important film to vote for. Yeah. An original screenplay isn't. I think it's the biggest Best Picture nominee in original screenplay, isn't it? What else is there? Ex Machina, Inside Out, Straight Out of Compton, and what's the other one?
Bridge of Spies.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's not a good screenplay by anyone's measure. So, it's a spotlight for Best Original Screenplay, I think. And as always, look out for Best Editing. Although I think this is one of those years where Mad Max wins all the text and then doesn't win Best Picture.
That would be interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, here's another question as well. Mark, I'm sorry, I'm just asking Brad questions.
No, that's fine.
He's got a bit of insider on this, but cinematography. Mark, what about cinematography for you, bud?
It's a strong category this year. I think it's down to.
Hiya.
I'm going to ask Mark again in a sec, just in case
Yep.
Brad goes. Sorry, Mark. Cinematography. Yep. I'm fascinated by this one this year. What do you think?
You asking Mark?
No, you. Before you cut out again.
I think Lubetsky wins 3 years in a row.
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
Is he, like, as far as you know, I mean, is he, like, well-liked as well as being kind of admired?
Yes, he is one of the most beloved men in this industry. Everyone adores him.
Okay, fair enough then. I was kind of wondering whether Lackman was going to get it for Carol, just because Carol was not going to get, like, anything else, apart from maybe supporting actress.
I think Carol's winning score.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Over Morricone?
Yeah, they don't like The Hateful Eight, I don't think. I think there's a bit of a anti-Tarantino thing. John Williams, I think, stands. I think it's John Williams for his, plagiarized score of his own work, or Carter Burwell. And Carter Burwell, like the Splat last year, is a very unrewarded composer.
Yes.
And it's a very memorable theme, and you can't deny how much that goes over with the Academy. Look at Brokeback Mountain winning Best Score for about 5 notes.
Well, that's true. I mean, I must say I was very, very pleased to see Sicario in there. I mean,
that and Steve Jobs are my favourite scores of the year, and It Follows, which I know you don't like.
I don't remember the score from It Follows. I'm not going to comment on that myself, but no, that's interesting. I mean, like that whole thing with John Williams actually getting in there is a bit,
and
Morricone, in fairness, yeah, you got some Exorcist 2 and whatnot in his score, haven't you? And the Thing outtakes, yeah. Has anyone really actually questioned that?
No, because they're legends.
Yeah.
That's all it is. Yeah.
They get the obligatory elder statesman pass from the Academy.
Yeah, fair enough.
But anyway, you were asking about cinematography. I don't see who else. I think Ed Lackman is too reserved. You've got to understand what they vote for is the whole Academy vote. They don't understand what cinematography is. They vote for the prettiest, almost visually striking. And I'm not diminishing the Revenant cinematography. As much as I think the film is a soulless, empty shell of a film, it's Emperor's New Clothes. The whole marketing campaign has been, look how hard it was for us to make this film. Look how technically brilliant we are to kind of disguise the fact that oh, look, he's naked. There's nothing there. But you can't fault the technical attributes in that film.
And Mark, how about you, man? Cinematography?
I think the Revenant will probably get it. Lubetsky will probably get it. Just because, like you say, there seems to be very little love for Hateful Eight this year. I think Mad Max will get the technical ones and will miss out on that particular one out of the non-sort of big awards. I just think that they'll look at the Revenant and go, "Oh, look, it's all outside. It's
the
all this
natural
technical,
light thing.
yeah."
And it is gorgeous. A lot of it is how did they do that? And I just think, what else is there? Mad Max, there's a lot of pushback. I know. I'm surprised it actually got the nomination as gorgeous as it is, because a lot of pushback looking for how heavily graded it is.
Yes. And
how heavily treated it is. Carol, I think, is too small. The Hateful Eight, I mean, they love Robert Richardson, but again, I don't think they like the film and its interiors. And the only thing, I just think there are too many Gold Watch contenders this year with Stallone, DiCaprio, George Miller, that Deakins would sit out again. There's not he's going to be the Gold Watch contender one year.
Yeah.
And it could happen.
It's a strange one, that one, that it got nominated for cinematography, but missed out on all the other big awards, really.
I imagine Sicario was not far behind for Benicio del Toro and even Best Picture and Best Director. I think it was probably up there. Came out a little bit too early. and was a little bit too cold. So many BAFTA voters I've spoken to, and a couple of Academy members, don't get it because they were sold an action film and got this very subversive, questionable thriller on American military politics. It's not what they were sold, and there's nothing worse than upended expectations for a lot of voters.
As what similar happened with The Road.
Yeah, exactly. That's not what they were sold. So they're voting. They're voting on the film they wanted as opposed to a film they got.
Yeah.
And my only upset with Sakara's personal one is my good friend Joe edited it, and I thought the editing was tremendous, and I really want him to get a nomination.
Joe Walker.
Joe Walker, yeah. He got nominated for 12 Years a Slave, and he'll get nominated again. He's doing Denis Villeneuve's next one, and I think he might even be doing Blade Runner 2 as well. He'll be fine. Wow. But, cinema, I just don't know. I think the only looming threat is Deakins, but I just don't think the passion's there for him or the film this year.
No.
And The Revenant everyone loves Chivo, and it's a tour de force of cinematography.
Yeah.
But that film. I watched it again. I watched it back in November and quite liked it. I watched it again last week and was just like, this is like The Danish Girl, which is a weird comparison I never thought I'd make. There's nothing below the surface on either of those films. They do not warrant a second viewing.
Does Danish Girl warrant a first viewing?
Yeah, I think most films warrant a first viewing, for better or ill. And I think it's worth it for her performance alone. And, there's some interesting stuff in there. It's a 3-star film.
Thank you for the segue, because the next thing I wanted to talk about, actress in a supporting role.
Yeah, hold on one sec. You made me think of something then, and it was really cool. It was pressing to something else you asked. It'll come back to me. You start waffling, and I'll...
Oh, why, thank you. Mark, actress in a supporting role, does The Hateful Eight get any love here, do you think?
No.
Or does Steve Jobs get any love? Or does Vikander get some love?
It's between Mara and Vikander.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think. I think Vikander will get it.
The thing is...
That's what I remembered. Hold on. That's what I was going to say before I forget again. Very quickly.
Yes.
About The Revenant, the best films about survival are not about how they survive, but why they choose to survive. And it's why The Grey is a much better film than The Revenant. There. That was a thought I had in my head.
I'm not going to disagree with that.
I'm not going to disagree with that either. I really like The Revenant, but I'm not...
I really like The Revenant.
Sorry.
But
Who do you think was winning, Ian?
Yeah, so I've got... It's the only thing Steve Jobs is going to win, if it is going to win anything at all.
And it won't win it.
Yeah, so you're that sure Vikander's going to do it, eh?
No, I'm not that sure Vikander's going to do it. I just don't think Kate Winslet's going to do it.
Okay, well, I think Steve Jobs is going home empty-handed, unfairly. I think Michael Fassbender gave a better performance than DiCaprio this year. DiCaprio should have won 2 years ago when he gave a better performance than McConaughey, but they're always a couple of years behind the curve. And they just didn't like the film so much because they were told it was a failure, therefore they perceived it as one. I don't see how Vikander doesn't win it. I don't see how she doesn't. I think she's played a lead role in supporting, which already gives her an unfair advantage. It's a more emphatic role than Rooney Mara's in Carol, and she has a lot of love for Ex Machina. So everyone who loved her in Ex Machina will vote for her there and say we're giving it to her for Ex Machina, even though it says Danish Girl on the ballot.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of Ex Machina, Alex Garland getting a nomination for Best Original Screenplay. Is that maybe the most surprising nomination out of, like, the big ones?
No, I was predicting it to get a Best Picture nomination after that
really?
DJ thing. I thought it was going to be this year's District 9.
Okay.
It's beloved. People love it. And that script is fucking brilliant, how it's always constantly shifting loyalties as to whose side you're supposed to be on between those three people. But again, she's won, 15 Critics' Awards for Ex Machina and one for The Danish Girl. A lot of people are going to give her that Danish Girl vote for Ex Machina. And there'll be if it was me, I'd be ticking her for Danish Girl for Testament of Youth, and I'd be ticking her for Man from U.N.C.L.E. and a lot of things she's done this year, which is great.
Yeah.
I just don't know. It's like how I'm surprised Jessica Chastain didn't win for The Help. Sometimes you get a Body of Work award and it says you've arrived.
Yes.
And I think that's it for her. And she's banging Fassbender. It's that perfect spot, cross-section of she's doing work in critically acclaimed films that are doing well, and she's in the gossip column because she's dating a celebrity, so everyone knows who she is. And this could be the coolest slate of acting winners ever. DiCaprio, Stallone, Brie Larson, and Alicia Vikander.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, that's cool. Although I have that sneaking suspicion that Mark Rylance might upend him, because I think the Academy is still the Academy, and sometimes they're just going to vote for the British Shakespearean thespian in the Spielberg film.
I'm just happy that Mark Rylance, the voice of one of my daughter's favourite cartoon characters, is going to be an Oscar winner.
It could be. Either way, it's still even with Mark Rylance, it's the coolest slate of Oscar winners in a long time.
Yes, quite.
So yeah, but then best actor, of course, DiCaprio is winning it. I think Fassbender or Matt Damon deserve it more this year, even though DiCaprio is a perennial deserving nominee.
It's a very strong. What is it that this year in that I haven't seen A Danish Girl, and I'm not a fan of Eddie Redmayne. So
and look, Michael B. Jordan gave a better performance than Eddie Redmayne. If we're going to pick at hairs, but I think if you're looking at actors that missed out, there's probably people the Academy were going to recognise before. They don't like young actors. You've got to remember, anyone under the age of 30. It's really rare. And Michael B. Jordan played a subtle part. You know, they don't go for subtleties. Hold on, what other categories do you want to talk about?
I think we're almost done.
Best documentaries is undeservedly going to go for Amy. I can't believe Listen to Me Marlon wasn't not nominated. That really upset me.
Actress is Brie Larson, just done.
Yeah, I think I think Alicia Vikander is winning supporting actress at the BAFTAs for Ex Machina. I think Saoirse Ronan is winning Best Actress at the BAFTAs. I think Room goes empty-handed at the BAFTAs and then comes back strong with Brie Larson at the Academy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Although, to be fair, Brie Larson could win at the BAFTAs because BAFTAs have long since abandoned all hope of recognising British talent.
Yeah, did you want to comment on that at all? Because I know you were pretty cheesed off about that again.
Well, I just think the British Academy of Film and Television Awards, it's embarrassing they didn't nominate a single British film for Best Picture. You know, they didn't even nominate... I mean, you could argue that, yes, Carol has some Film 4 money in it, but it's not a British film at all. You know, it's wrong. And that's always the thing. I mean, I refuse to believe that the token working title slot this year fucking work. I don't want to say too much because I've worked for them, but you know, it's like Wizard of Oz. I always imagine I want someone to mock up a poster that's Eric Fellner's face projected on a big green curtain with Tim Bevan pulling the ropes behind it, like the Wizard of Oz. But I refuse to believe the Danish.
Do you want me
Girls
to edit that out, Brad?
No, fuck it. Up to you. I refuse to believe that The Danish Girl, which is a film I think is perfectly fine, is a better example of British cinema than 45 Years or Brooklyn or Macbeth. Two of those three films went... No, what's the other? There was another one that went completely empty-handed as well. I think, but you know, Macbeth didn't get a single nomination from the Academy, from the British Academy.
Yeah.
For its technical craft or best, you know, what a crock of shit. Even if you didn't like the film, you recognise its craft. There was another one. I'm not sure. It's not Brooklyn because that got nominations. It's not 45 Years. But there's another. There's another. Is The Lobster. There's another great British film that should have been nominated, at least in screenplay. You know, these are all films. When you look at the Biffa, the Biffa nominees for Best Picture, it was Amy, Brooklyn, Ex Machina, The Lobster, Macbeth, and 45 Years, and at least three of them got shut out completely, and only one of them figured into Best British Film at the BAFTAs.
Yeah, that's... God, when you phrase it like that, that's fucking retarded.
Maybe two of them, but 2 out of 6 is not good.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't think The Lobster's good. I haven't got it in front of me, so but either way, I remember being quite appalled. The last time the BAFTAs threw an idiosyncratic nomination to a British performer in a film that was never going to get an Oscar nomination was Andy Serkis in Sex, Drugs and Rock and Roll. You know, that was a long time ago.
That was a very long time ago, yeah.
That was, 5 years ago? And it's all become a bit silly. But yet, they're still BAFTA. They nominate Julie Walters for sitting there, reading a couple of funny lines at a dinner table in Brooklyn.
That was fucking baffling. I tweeted about that at the time.
That's not a performance.
No, that's... I don't know. The guy who plays Mrs. Brown could have done that.
Yeah. It's anyway. Well, I'm trying to think if there's any other categories. Animated film is clearly Inside Out.
But Shaun the Sheep's in there. I'm happy.
Yeah, that's great. And then documentary best original song's a crock of shit because Furious 7 wasn't nominated.
That's fair. To be fair, yeah. You know, considering what that meant for that film. And like everything around
and it was
it,
a massive
that
hit this
song
year
was
as well.
pretty spot on.
You you're telling me that the Lady Gaga song from that documentary I watched that's really overrated was used better in context than See You Again in Furious 7, which is how these things are supposed to be voted on. And that fucking Sam Smith song from Spectre.
Well, that is the most criminal thing about the Oscars this year. Is there's a strong chance that Sam Smith is going to have an Academy Award.
No, I
Lady
believe.
Gaga.
I think if they truly vote on the performance and in context, as much as I didn't like the film, Simple Song Number 3 from Youth should have it in the bag. And it'll be a big virtuoso performance as well. You know, it's. Bear in mind, it has to be voted for by people who actually watch the films or watch the clips. But yeah, the Furious 7 thing was a bit outrageous. Score, we've been over. Cinematography, editing, I think, obviously that's key as to what wins Best Picture. But again, I think Mad Max could be a lurking spoiler there.
Yeah.
Visual effects, do you think it's the one that Star Wars gets?
No, that's The Revenant, I think.
Yeah? Okay.
They always vote. Visual effects and makeup are two categories where look for the film that's nominated for Best Picture or look for the worthy film, because they don't like to vote for the other thing. I mean, there's a chance Star Wars could get it, but I think it's The Revenant in makeup. Well, I think Mad Max could get both of these. Bear in mind, there's a lot of special effects people in the visual effects branch of the Academy, and they're all going to vote for Mad Max, every single one of them, because their craft is underrepresented in cinema. Which also Star Wars has to its thing as well, but not to the extent of Mad Max, which was like, this is all practical.
Yeah.
I think if we're going to pick the film with more than 5 nominations that goes home empty-handed award, I think that's going to go to The Martian.
Yeah, sure.
Because any technical category it's in, it's going to lose to The Revenant or Mad Max. Again, though, it's a looming threat for adapted screenplay against The Big Short. I think it's between those two.
Really? Okay, that's interesting.
Well, it's a brilliant script. You know, it's so funny and witty. I mean, it's not a comedy film, but it is funny. You know, and it's witty, it's compassionate, it's blockbuster writing at its finest.
I think that's fair. Yeah.
So again, always look for the Best Picture nominees in those categories, which is why I think it comes down to that and The Big Short. I swear we're missing like a really big category, but maybe not.
No, we've done score, we've done song, done visual effects, done all the acting, done picture, best director, visual effects already said. I don't know, makeup and hairstyling. Could the 100-year-old man who came down a mountain win? Oh no, he climbed out a window, didn't he? He didn't come down a mountain.
Which is an incredible feat of makeup. It doesn't surprise me that was nominated at all once I realised it was on the short list. Yeah. But anyway, I don't know. I think that basically my thing is, yes, there's a controversy that needs to be thingy, but overall, it's a surprisingly decent slate of nominees, and a lot of the winners are actually quite obvious when you think about it, or down to a couple of deserving winners. I don't think there's going to be many things that would really upset too many people if the presumed favourite didn't win, because the ones in second place are still great. Yeah, it's a very good year. I think they've done well, personally.
I agree, to be fair.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm going to go because I'm just arriving. I'm sorry it was a bit bitty, but at least we got there.
Nah, dude, there was like at least a solid half hour of stuff there. Don't worry. Nice one. Thanks, Brad.
Thank you very much, Brad.
All right, speak to you in a bit.
Take it easy, mate. Bye.
Bye.